later on YouTube. So for those of you who are joining us today, I am excited because we have a new sponsor. And, although we are to surround ourselves with everybody, we should not exclude anybody, but the people that when you find someone who's like-minded, that's where the treasure is. That's where you sharpen your skills. And that's when we get to shine alongside other flashlights and lighthouses and table lamps and candles, where we all come together with a greater purpose, which is to give and receive love and knowledge. So today we're going to talk about how to embrace our youth no matter how old we are, with an expert of over 20 years. And her name is Lisa Geyer. And so today we're going to fasten our seatbelts because we are going to learn and grow together. And Lisa, I forgot to tell you, it's time to dance. Everybody, it's time to dance. Once you hear the music, we're about to get muted. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. I'm so excited that we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been tuning in to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show /Classroom, maybe since 2011, or you just tuned in yesterday for the first time, welcome back. But if this is the first time that you are tuning in, please know that I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place you can turn to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends at facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dream, that best life naturally as you can. Now, as you know, it's been a journey for me, but I have finally embraced the fact that the choices that I've made 20 years ago are affecting me today. The choices I'm making today are affecting me today. Every choice that we make gets us closer to our goal or away from our goal. So if we make healthy choices about, we talk about all these things about nutrition, and we talk about health, mindset, all the lessons that our teachers have taught us in the classroom, all those choices, when we're making choices that are good for us, we're going to reap the benefits with unlimited rewards. We don't even know what the rewards are going to be or how you've impacted your life. However, one thing that we know for sure is that we are going to age. The body's going to go through the aging process, but how is it going to do that? How are we going? We know we're going to die, but how do you want to live? That's the question that sometimes we need to ask ourselves. So today we have board certified health coach and CEO of Live Longer Medical, Lisa Geyer. She has over 20 years of experience with integrative and anti-aging. Did you hear that? Anti-aging. Although I'm not against anything, I am for graceful aging. How about that? So I asked Lisa to come on and teach us how our vibrant interior can match our exterior at every stage in our life. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Lisa Geyer is here to do just that. Welcome, Lisa, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show / Classroom. Thank you for being a teacher today.
Thank you. I'm really delighted to be a part of it. This is great.
Yes, and I'm excited because from the moment we met each other, I knew that, I mean, it was like we knew that we would be special in each other's lives.
Yes.
And so share a little bit about you, because as I was doing research for the show, I felt like I got to know you even more. But share a little bit about you and what has led you to come down to Florida and purchase Live Longer Medical.
So my journey started at a very young age because my mother was very conscious of our environment and water. And I give her credit because that was very important to her. She lived in a home with well water, and she kept saying, I don't think we should be drinking this. And so from a very young age, I give my mother a lot of credit for that. It was kind of the impetus to move me along in my life and my passion for wellness and health and healthy eating. So from there, I started school, and I started studying dietetics. So I was in a dietetics program for quite a long time, wrote a cookbook, co-hosted a radio program. I really spent a lot of time focusing on my education as it related to what we were feeding our bodies. Because regardless of the catchphrase, you are what you eat, it's incredibly true. And we need to take time to look at, what we're feeding I call it our temple. We have one, you get one in life. So we want to treat it as best we can. But so I started down that path of education. At the time, my husband and I started an integrative wellness practice, leaving the hospital, and started with 2 and grew to an amazing, beautiful practice with many patients and thousands of stories. And so from that, I have worked with over 200,000 patients and heard a lot of stories and helped a lot of people go from illness to wellness. So that's kind of the beginning of the story. And I have 6 children. I birthed them all, and they're all amazing. One is left to launch, and they've all got beautiful careers and passions in their lives, and they're healthy and thriving, and they give me a really hard time that I never let them have sugar, and I was such a mean mom to make them eat organically, but they're so grateful for it now, and they're actually living that way themselves. So it's good.
Isn't it good? I wish I would have known all that. I think that if I could go back and do it over, I probably would have gone to that ground zero kind of mentality when it comes to healthy eating and doing things ourselves. But I got seduced with the, instant gratification that is even worse now. It used to be where we had a relationship with our food, and then with the industry of the fast food industry and the quick and easy. I remember using powdered potatoes that have no potatoes in it. And when you can just boil potatoes and mash them up, and it's healthy. So I wish I could have, if I could do that, I wish I could teach my children the value of you are what you eat, but you are what you think, and you are what you do, all those things. So with that in mind, you have started off even earlier because of your parents and how important that is. So as you are learning these new truths, were you shocked to find out that your mom, did you resent your mom because maybe she was different than all the other moms?
She was, I felt like she was beginning a path that most people, just, it was not in vogue. It wasn't the cool thing to do.
Correct.
And, nobody had water filters, and no one was thinking about getting bottled water. And so, I think, in the beginning, I do remember people questioning her, but it sure doesn't take long before they start to listen and they begin to realize that there's some value. And then when you take the science and someone's testing the water, that's huge. Then when they start to see what they're drinking and what they're consuming, it makes a difference. So it's nice that science began to back up her thinking about that. So.
Yeah. And so it's great that you recognize the value.
Yes.
You recognize the value. So many teachers that come in the classroom, they say, I love being able to share this information with the world, but my family is my toughest audience.
Oh, yes.
And when you got that, it's like, I can so relate. I think all of us can relate, right?
Yes. I wrote a cookbook years ago. And so when I wrote the cookbook, we would take a recipe and make it 2 or 3 times. And my children were so sick of eating black bean burgers. I'll never forget. They gave me a hard time, but they're grateful for that now. So
that's good.
It was good.
Okay. So you helped co-found the Geyer Institute.
I did.
For over 20 years experience. And that's in Indiana, right?
Indiana.
And Indiana is really far from Florida and Live Longer Medical. What made you make that change to come to Florida and decide to start all over with Live Longer Medical?
There were many factors. I spent a couple of years looking at different clinics that were being sold. I met with several in Florida. But this clinic struck me for a number of reasons. I love the area. It's just beautiful people, beautiful surroundings. The clinic is beachside, so you walk out the door and you're across from the beach. So it's just an incredibly healing environment, and it just felt right. I took time to visit the clinic a few times, and the physician that was selling the clinic just couldn't make the trips anymore and manage 3 clinics because he had 2 where he lives in Connecticut, and he remains as my medical director. He's a great physician, and he's a fabulous, I call him my coach, because it's wonderful to be able to share and talk about what you're doing and get some advice along the way. So it's worked out beautifully. Again, I looked at a clinic in Naples. I looked at some in Sarasota. I looked at many in Florida, but I love Florida and I hate snow. So it was nice to get away from it. Yeah.
It's a great combination. So one of the things, I don't know if I shared this with you, perhaps I did, because we've shared so many things. Back in when I first started, the show went from the weekend to every day. Dr. Adam Check and Dr. Green of the former Live Longer Medical, they were my sponsors for 4 months, and I helped them build their practice. But then things change and people grow and go different ways. And so when I met you and you were from Live Longer Medical, I felt like I had this immediate connection with you because I love what you guys are doing. So, and that you are continuing and bringing it up a notch. So share about this concierge primary care lifestyle medicine practice that you have in Indianapolis, Florida.
So, my passion is helping people get well and also thriving and enhancing where they are today. It's not always, about just giving a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid is one solution, and sure, you may have a patient with headaches, and certainly Imitrex or Advil, something is going to be supportive, but that's not getting at the root cause. So our passion at Live Longer Medical is taking a scientific approach, understanding biochemistry, and treating at the root cause of an illness, which is significantly different. And it does alter lifestyle, because if you're going to make a change, it's really helpful to understand biochemically what you're made of. And everyone's biochemistry is different. So we do a lot of lab testing that's very detailed. And very few labs provide this level of diagnostic information. So we do, one test that I just love. I'll just mention it. It's called a Nutra-Eval test. It's done by Genova Laboratories, and I really love it because you can lay that lab tests out for a patient, and they can look at that and discern for themselves that they're missing certain nutrients that could be life-changing for them. So, taking this clinic that in its infancy stages, I call it, they were looking, strictly mostly at hormones, which are critically important because we are made of hormones, and they affect how we think, how we move, our energy, the dynamics of how our organs function. They're vitally important. So we're just taking what Live Longer Medical was and enhancing it and making it broader and more detailed.
I love that. Okay, so when you talk about this Nutra-Eval test, to me, it almost sounded like you had a roadmap, like you get like a snapshot of where I'm at this point, my deficiencies. Do you find my deficiencies, or maybe what I have too much of, my overages? Is that what it looks like for you?
So a Nutra-Eval test will look at all the nutrients that your body should have. And yes, it will look at what you don't have enough of. It will look at what you have too much of. There's a brief look at heavy metals. I don't think it's the gold standard, but it does give you a barometer, and you can take a peek at that and decide, gee, I need to look at this in a different way. It has a very nice picture of some of your essential fats, what you have, what you don't have enough of, your triglycerides, your HDL, your LDL, your high like heaven, low like hell. You want to make sure you've got that balanced. Mm-hmm. It does a real nice evaluation of where you are right now, what you could be doing to enhance that. Then you take that and you couple it with symptoms and history, family history, and you can begin to create protocols that are specific to that person. And I don't believe in one size fits all medicine, because we're all different. We're all unique. We have unique needs in our lives. And, to me, it's preventative medicine is really having that look of biochemistry to know what you are currently made of and what you could change that could dramatically affect your longevity, enhance your vitality. I mean, it's wonderful to live a long life, but you want to live it vibrantly, and not just, you want to be, 120 and you're not vibrant and excited every day. So understanding your unique biochemistry is vital to enhance your own longevity and lifestyle, for sure.
Okay. So I'm just being told that they're having problems in where we can't hear the podcast. So I'm asking Robert if you could do me a favor and check that out to see if that everybody's being heard. So thank you, Jill, for letting us know that. And just make sure it's not on your end and that there's a volume control. Robert, can you check that out? So I'm going to continue going with this because I love the fact that you have a roadmap, with, you have this. Is this an expensive test, or is it part of an initial consultation? What do you do?
So I'm mentioning Nutra-Eval. There are so many tests that we can use to give definition to someone's overall health. But when it comes to cost, there is a prepay amount for the Genova test. I find that most patients who have insurance, they'll get some level of coverage. You will have some out-of-pocket cost with some of these enhanced tests. I recommend doing them once a year. I think it's an investment in your life. You might spend $200, you might spend $300 on some of these tests. It could be a little bit less based on your insurance, but it really is vital. I think it's a critical test, and I always advise people to try to do these tests while you're feeling great and not when you're necessarily ill, because sometimes you can catch something before it becomes a problem. So that's true prevention. But the Nutra-Eval is just one test. We do heavy metal testing, which is a provocation test. You get an IV with either EDTA or DMPS, and both will bind heavy metals and carry it out. And it's a urine collection test. And you'll check the urine, and it kind of gives an idea of what's been held in the tissue. And in some cases, it's life-changing for people just to know that. We do some gut testing. We look at the gut to make sure it's healthy, because most immunity comes from your gut. And if your gut isn't healthy and you're having, reflux or stomach aches and, gas, bloating, issues that, people, sometimes don't want to talk about, but it's critical, and it's telling your story. It's telling, what's going in and how it's being processed. So we do some tests like that too.
I love how you say you're, telling a story, but isn't that our body? Our body is always telling us a story.
Yeah, absolutely, Lily. It's critical. And if you're listening, I find that we have to be listeners. And you don't want to be that patient. We used to, try to describe people who are not listening. You want to listen to the symptoms that your body is presenting to you, because it is telling your story. And it has something important for you to address.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one thing. Hearing, you're hearing, like I'm hearing you, but am I listening to you?
Right.
And so the body gives us our symptoms, which is our body hearing our body. The body is speaking to us, but we hear it long enough to go to the doctor to get a pill to cover up what our body is saying. It's like we're putting a muzzle in our body and saying, I don't want to listen to what you're saying. Yes. Listen to the fact that maybe I am, burning the candle at both ends. Maybe I'm not eating the foods that I need to eat. But what I think, it's interesting that you would say, there are going to be cost out-of-pocket expenses. But here's the thing. We'll go to the doctor and put money towards a copay, and put money towards testing, put money towards all this stuff. When in reality, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I want to see your thumbprint. I want to see what's happening in your body right now. What are the deficiencies? What are the excesses? What are the things that may be thought? I mean, I noticed that in your clinic and Live Longer Medical in Indy Atlantic. And by the way, for those of you who want to learn more about Live Longer Medical, you can go to livelongermedical.com, and they're working on their website right now. So it's a work in progress. I will say that. But you can check out their address, their phone number. And if you want to communicate directly with them or communicate with us through here today, you can text me or whatever. You can absolutely reach out to either or, and I'll connect you to them. So when we're talking about our mentality and we might be eating well and we might be sleeping well, but our thoughts in our head, and I know that you have coaching as well in the clinic. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So while we can take a lot of science and we can determine what someone is made of, and we can create a lifestyle plan for that person, specific to that person, sometimes you do need some coaching. You need someone to stand alongside and push you along a little bit. And we do have a coach that we work with, and her name is Haley Lawrence, and you can reach out to her through our web. I think she's not on the website yet. She might be, but we're every day something is updating on our website. So some of the things I even talk about today are not listed on the website yet. So hang in there with us. But
you guys are just new at this, but you still have so much experience. You know where you're headed. You know where you want to go. Yeah.
So true. But, it's coaching is a vital a part of our lives. And, I always tell patients, it's sometimes hard when you're the person in your family and you're beginning that path of wellness and you're changing your lifestyle of eating. Sometimes your family members might not be as supportive as you might like.
Correct.
And, but just wait, because then when they're not feeling so well, they'll be calling you. So, you do have to have that understanding of the science of your own biochemistry. That's helpful because you have more roots about what you're doing and you feel more supported. But a coach is fabulous. I mean, it's just an important part of our lives, whether it's your husband, your children, and I have an amazing family. I have an amazing man in my life. So everyone is extremely supportive of everything that I'm doing. And that's great. But if you don't, you need a coach. So might want to find one.
Yeah, exactly. And I get it. I get it. I'm also a certified life coach, and it's so important. There are health coaches, there are life coaches, there are business coaches, and it seems like that's the trend, to do going to coaches as opposed to people shy away from therapy. And so, whatever it takes, because therapy is good too if you're open to therapy. But if you're open, whatever works. And I love how you're offering alternative answers, solutions to your patients. So one of those alternatives are hormone. You had mentioned it, that hormones are important. That's what Live Longer Medical were doing. That's what they were focusing on before. But you're saying, no, we need to go on steroids here. We need to go beyond the hormones. But you are embracing it because that's part of longevity. Can you share a little bit more about the importance of hormones and how you discover what a person needs?
So for hormone testing, we do a lot of different things. We'll test with blood, urine, saliva. There are a lot of ways to look at hormones, and depending on a patient's symptoms, it will determine what type of test we might choose.
Okay.
And hormones are vital. And when I say hormones, I'm talking bioidentical hormones.
Yes.
The hormones that are most like what your body recognizes. And it's important that we clarify that, because there are a lot of studies showing that some forms of hormone don't work as well as others, but the only hormones that we prescribe in our practice are bioidentical hormones. It might be in a cream. For some patients, it works perfectly in a cream. For some, it might be an injection. And we're also providing pellet therapies. And we have patients that love this form because they don't have to worry about the creams every day or the pills that they take, or, it's just, once every 3 to 5 months, depending on the patient and how they methylate. But, that's basically how we're providing hormones. But what hormones do, it's vital. I can speak for women first. For women, if we are becoming deficient in, let's just say, progesterone, you might have excessive bleeding. You might have difficulty sleeping. As you're perimenopausal or as you are menopausal, you could have trouble with your thinking. You could have foggy thinking. You could have difficulty sleeping. Sex drive can absolutely plummet during those phases in life. And life's a journey, and our bodies are changing. So it's a wonderful thing. We're very blessed that we can enhance those times in our life and find out what we're missing and what we don't have enough of, and increase our ability to thrive and live vibrantly. But hormones, yes, they're a critical part of our lives. And for men, it's equally important. For men, if they don't have enough testosterone, they will lose the ability to work out efficiently. And I've worked with professional athletes. I've worked with patients who are in their 90s. And I can tell you that hormones are critical, no matter what your age or no matter what what stage you are in life. So for men, their workouts will change. They won't. Their muscles will not be as when they're working out, they're not going to get the outcomes that they used to get. So testosterone will make a difference for men in that regard. It also affects their mood, just like it does for women. Mm-hmm. So, a grouchy man, sometimes you might want to look at that testosterone level. It could change things even in their home life. So, testosterone is important for women too. That affects our sex drive. And, I've had women come in and they get their hormones in order, and then their husbands are following right after them because, they're saying, look, whatever you did for her, you better do for me.
I want what she's having. Okay. Yeah. So here's the deal. Okay. I want to talk about both sides. I have known people that have done synthetic hormones, and it's had a devastating effect on them. So I want to nail the fact that you're talking about bioidentical, which is similar to the body. Then there's the other group there that says, the reason why your hormones go down is because it's nature's way of settling yourself as you get older. But here's what they don't talk about. If we're not eating well, if we're not living well, if we're not doing all these things, can our hormones go down artificially because of all the artificial crap that we have in our body.
It's crap in our body is one, but it's also our toxic exposure.
Okay,
And,
let's talk more about that.
So if you look at where we live, where we sleep, what are we sleeping on? For a long time, just in the United States, our mattresses, it was required to have formaldehyde, and it's an
Inflammatory.
Yes, and
Flame retardant. Yeah.
flame retardant. So, it's vital that even what you're sleeping on, thinking how many hours you're sleeping, and all of these exposures. Sometimes people aren't aware. Whether it's in the paint, it's in your flooring, it's in your carpet. Just going into an office building, you have no idea what you're exposed to. Car exhaust. Literally, we are exposed to toxins every day. And everyone's body has a different way of processing. And for some people, it can really weaken the body's ability to maintain hormone levels. Silver fillings, amalgams.
Oh yeah.
That we could go on for an hour. I had a patient.
We can do a whole hour on that alone. Yes.
Yeah, Mad Hatter's disease. I had dentists as patients, and their mercury levels were off the charts, and it can affect thinking dramatically, and how our hormones are processed in the body. So, again, it's back to knowing what you're made of, what you have too much of, what you don't have enough of, and understanding your biochemistry. That is key and vital. And I don't know if it's okay to add this right now, but I'm just finishing a certification in methyl genetics. And so now they're taking the biochemistry that you have, and you do a genetics test. It could be through 23andMe. There's a couple of resources I like a little bit better. And some of these resources will take your genetic SNPs, and you can get a picture of what you're genetically headed toward. And then you look at your lab testing, and you can turn some of those genetic expressions on and off. So, again, we could spend another hour on that, but that's just some of the testing we're also doing in our practice, because you can get an idea of where your propensities are. And what you might need to change and alter in your own life.
I love that. I love that, because one of the things that has been used, genetics have been used in the past to set fear. They talk about the BRCA gene, and women who have the BRCA gene have a 50% chance of getting cancer, but yet they never talk about the 50% that don't get it. What is the difference? And so I love the fact that you're using genetics to help turn on and off what needs to be turned on and off, right?
Yes, exactly.
And it's called methyl genetics now?
Methyl genetics. It's just a new study, and they're looking at how the methylation pathways, how your body processes the nutrients that you have in your hormones, and it just gives another diagram or a path or a part of your journey that's vitally important. It's all a part of your story, all a part of your journey.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of this, I do want to talk about the part of our journey and how we take responsibility. That's the key, taking ownership for our life. And I love the fact that I've had so many wonderful sponsors, teachers come on the show to teach us in the classroom how to take our life back. And so I want to ask all of you to join forces, this movement of responsibility, and join at whenyouneedafriend.com. Become a subscriber. Now you can become a sponsored or an enrolled student, which becomes a sponsored student in the classroom as well. And so this is where we say, the buck stops here. We can blame everybody for our diseases, our stresses, our depression, whatever is going on in our life right now. We can blame everybody, but really the ownership is yours. You have, just like our DNA, the power to turn it on and turn it off. And this is where I'm hoping that you will join this movement of ownership and say, okay, I'm in, subscribe. And while you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, like me, follow me, social media. You can join me live in the classroom when the classroom is in session, at Lillian's radio show on Facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. There's YouTube where you can watch the show afterwards as well. And so all those icons are there at whenyouneedafriend.com. Also, my sponsors, that is the most important aspect of it. Check out my sponsors, click on the button where it says sponsors page, and figure out ways that you can support Liberty HealthShare. You can go to libertyhealthshare.org or check them out on my website. Keep Me Safe Organics Worldwide, non-toxic, non-synthetic, all natural. Keep Me Safe Organics. Mention my name. You could click on it. All these are on the all you could have to do is click on the icon and it'll take you to their pages, and put in Lily 10 and get 10% off your entire purchase. First Alternative Care, where if we're talking about taking our health back, but sometimes we don't have the money or we don't have the time. First Alternative Care takes away both objections for the entire household, $35 a month. And they also prescribe if you need a prescription. So can you imagine $35 a month, your entire household? That's less than a copay for one visit. And you can do it in the privacy of your own home. We also have Dr. Stephen Grable, who stands with us, and he's integrative, functional, holistic in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, as well as we have Live Longer Medical, who has stepped up to the plate and said, okay, we want to join forces with you. And they're in the Atlantic, Florida, and beachside, beautiful location where once you're done there, figuring out what it is that you want for your life, how you can tweak little minor things, then you can go to the beach and meditate there. So it's just a win-win. And of course, the pharmacy in Merritt Island, where they do topical solutions as well as oral solutions, because that's sometimes I'm all about the taking a natural approach to things. So I want to make sure that if you go there to the pharmacy, you mention Lily, and they'll give you 20% off your first purchase. Live Longer Medical, if you want to learn more, go to livelongermedical.com. And of course, go to the Enrolled Student button, and then you can choose to stand with us as well as a student, as a teacher, and let's continue staying healthy together. Which, by the way, Lisa, thank you so much for stepping up and saying that you too stand with the Lillian McDermott Radio Show classroom.
Glad to be here. This is a wonderful program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Knowledge is power.
That it is. And one of the things I want to switch to, because we talked a little bit about hormones and the importance of that. I'm sure that we'll have many shows and classrooms and classes on lessons on this. But one of the things I want to shift to is that natural choices that we can choose for ourselves. How do you know what I need so that I am not a one size fits all? Anyone who says everybody should be paleo, everybody should be, keto, everybody, that is a one size fits all mentality. And what I love about Live Longer Medical is they're saying, okay, let's look at your thumbprint and how we can create longevity and health and vibrancy for you. So you also have IV therapies, which I want to learn more about and be a part of every month as I experience IV therapy at Live Longer Medical. So let's talk about why IV therapy helps us with our health.
So when it comes to IV therapies, I've been getting IVs for 25 years. And many times in my life, I'm getting an IV once a week. And it's specific to me. So when we do some of this lab testing and we can tell that someone has a pattern of being deficient, for instance, in magnesium. Well, magnesium is vitally important to your heart function. It will affect muscles and muscle spasms and things like that. So for me, personally, I'm always deficient in magnesium. So in my IVs, I make sure I'm getting a certain amount of magnesium. But what we provide are different types of IVs. Over the years, we've had patients with different types of diagnoses. For instance, cancer, we do cancer anti-cancer IVs. We do, they're a high vitamin C IV. We have an IV for hangovers, for those who are going to enjoy their Friday night and they need something on a Saturday or a weeknight, whenever. And it's actually has glutathione, which really helps clear the liver. So we have a specific protocol just for that. We have a beauty IV, and it has some things like biotin in it that help with your hair, your skin, your nails.
I think I want that one.
Yeah,
that's
really
my first cocktail.
Yeah, that's what I get, and I really love it. It makes a difference. Now, I have in my when I did my genetics test, I have an issue with MTHFR. I have a problem with folic acid. So I have folic acid added to my IV therapies. So again, it's specific to the person. I'm just speaking about myself in the moment, but everyone has their own biochemistry, and so we create IVs that are for that. We also do chelation. We've had patients who they may have a heart condition, and chelation is fabulous for helping break up calcification. So if our practitioners deem that to be an important part of a protocol for a patient, we provide chelation, and that might be for heavy metals or mercury or things like that.
Yeah.
And Kristen Lorella is our nurse practitioner. She's absolutely brilliant, and she's going through all of the anti-aging training through an organization called AFRM. They're world recognized for their fabulous education. So she's doing that. And so when she looks at a patient, she will determine if they need specific IV therapies based on science. We use lab testing, sometimes symptoms, patients who have fatigue. We have an energy IV. So there are a lot of things like that again, it's specific to the patient. And even though we have set protocols, it's not, we specify what that patient might need for their own biochemistry.
Very good. And that is, I was talking to someone not too long ago, and they were telling me how they have liver issues and that they had gone to this doctor, and he is fabulous, and that he said that she needed her liver cleansed. And I said, well, tell me more. And she said, well, I need 52 sessions. And I said, well, of what? What do you need 52 sessions of? What is it that your liver is deficient, and what are they putting into your liver? I said, how does he know? Because she said it's because it's a 52-week treatment. And I went, well, how do you know that you're not going to get better in 11 treatments? How do you guys discover at Live Longer Medical that a 52-week treatment or protocol may be a 5-week treatment for me?
Again, it is really based on the patient, their lab testing, symptoms. But we have a philosophy of going slow and starting low, and really watching how a patient is improving. Symptoms are important. We like to have our patients back a lot in the beginning, just because we want to get an idea of how they're doing. We take more time with our patients. We do offer insurance-based appointments, but we also have integrative appointments where we take more time. I have always felt like over the years of listening to people, if you listen long enough, they're going to tell you a lot about what they need.
Yeah.
So, again, it's really getting to know that patient. And, the insurance model is good for some people, and it works. But I do find that we prefer to take that time, because it's critically important to understand that patient and how they're feeling and how they're progressing. And that does tell a lot. To tell a patient you have to do this particular treatment for a year, there may be some science behind that based on their lab testing. We would probably tend to go a little slower and kind of take it.
She didn't have labs.
Oh, okay.
She didn't have labs, which I'm going to tell her to go to you.
No, yeah, I think it's important to know what you're dealing with and to use the science as part of that tool. Absolutely.
Yes. So let's talk about membership, because I'm proposing a membership in the classroom with the enrolled student membership, and so Live Longer Medical has a membership. Tell us about how membership works at Live Longer Medical, and what do you get for your membership?
previously they had a membership and it covered certain office visits so that the patients didn't have to deal with their copays. We're still doing that. We still offer that. But we've enhanced it whereby a patient can get an IV per month. They can get come in and get their B12 injections once a week. And it's all part of their membership. They don't have to pay for their copays. It allows them just more time with the practitioner and more therapies that are included in that membership. And for some people that works. Again, we try to shy away from one size fits all, but we listen to our patients, and if we feel like something might work better for them, yes, we'll add that. We also do biofeedback. So many of our patients use their membership to come in and get their biofeedback, which might be 3 visits a week. And, those can be $300 a piece. So it saves them a lot of money to use the membership.
So tell us more about biofeedback and how that helps your members. So
biofeedback is known for many different uses, but predominantly anxiety, depression. That's what I'm seeing the use for in our office, people with sleep issues. And it's basically a picture of how the brain is processing data. I'm going to really dumb it down that way.
That's exactly what I want you to do.
So basically, it's just a visual of how each person is using, their environment, the stressors in their life, and it helps to change how they're processing. And for each patient, it is different. There is, again, no set. You can't say, when you take this pill, it's going to do this in 10 minutes. It's not, microwave medicine. So, with each person it's different, but we have patients that absolutely love it and they swear by it and it's changing their life. Mm-hmm. So that's a part of our membership. And we do a lot of that in our office.
And is that unlimited, or do you have like different levels of membership?
There's different levels of membership. Right now, some of our patients, for the biofeedback, it's our very basic and lowest level of membership. And then if they want to add IV therapies, then the price goes up a little bit, and then it goes up a little bit more if they add injections and other things like that.
So you guys have, and now I know that pretty soon, I think it's August 15th, you're going to do a Beauty and Bubbly, which I love how that sounds already. Well, let's talk a little bit about Beauty and Bubbly. Now that we know that we can become members, we become members of a gym. Why not become a member of a healthy-minded, alternative, lifestyle promoting place?
Well, I think it's important to create the environment where we can be beautiful inside and out. And I think our beauty does start on the inside and understanding our biochemistry, because that will affect our skin. And your skin is the biggest expression of what's going on in your gut in many cases. So Beauty and Bubbly, we're actually doing Xeomin treatments and some fillers, and we'll actually do consultations that evening. We'll provide treatments. It's critical to sign up early. We really are have a limited number of spaces, so if you are interested, you might want to call the office right away and get
I'll be there. I'm signing up right now. Okay.
Oh, good.
Who's going to join me? I would love for us to come together at Live Longer Medical on August 15th. And what time is it on that?
It's 5:30 to 7:30.
Okay.
And we will have some organic. We're working at getting some organic light appetizers and some very biodynamic or organic bubbly. So we'll have those things to offer, and our nurse practitioner, Kristen Lorella, will be there, and all of my brilliant staff and some of my support team will be there. They'll be excited to meet patients and help provide information. We also have a supplement line that is pharmaceutical grade that I'm developing, and each month I create our own private labeled supplement. So we'll have those in the office, and we could talk to patients about those too. So we'll have all those things there that night.
What else can people expect when they walk into Live Longer Medical?
Well, from the minute you walk in the door, it's a very happy environment. We have very soothing, wonderful music. We keep a diffuser with essential oils. We have supplements. We have air purifiers. We keep our air clean in the office. I've had patients walk in and they'll say, "Oh my goodness, I feel better just walking in the door." Mm-hmm. And we have really sweet staff. They're extremely positive, knowledgeable. They attend the conferences with me. I don't just talk to my staff about what we do. I want them to be involved in it. So when we attend a medical conference, they're all about learning everything that we're doing in the practice. We keep everyone very informed. So I would just have to say it's a very peaceful environment, very healthy environment. The staff is very caring.
I love it. And you know what? I've been there a couple of times since I met Lisa, and I love the changes that you guys have made. I must say that I've been there before, and you are taking something that was good and making it so much better. And so that's what it's all about in our life, in our careers, as parents, as things that we don't know that we don't know. And once we learn it, we can choose to go to that next level. And it was time for Live Longer Medical to grow to that next level. And I'm glad all the years of experience that you have, that you're bringing to Live Longer Medical, as well as your staff, that you are, fine-tuning, because you've got all these years experience. We haven't really talked about the Geyer Institute very much, but you kind of downplayed this, that you helped co-found and you were the director of, but people came from all over the world in Indiana to receive treatments from you guys. Share a little bit about how you want to bring that kind of, what are you wanting to bring to Live Longer Medical to match or surpass that feeling of being known as the best in the world?
Well, again, I've said it once, but knowledge is power. And I think one of the things that I feel that we're presenting to our patients is education. And I think when people understand what they need, whether it's the science and the lab testing, or it's just understanding a supplement and how it works. When we created the Geyer Institute, everything that we provided was scientifically based. And, what we were able to do with patients spoke loudly. And I plan to do that again. Our patients came from all over the world. We treated the farmer next door to the very, Farrah Fawcett was a part of some of the things we were doing. And, we had a lot of very interesting patients that I can't name. But, we just, I think when you treat people with integrity and you are providing something that works in their life, the word spreads. And so I always tell my staff that we are ladies and gentlemen taking care of ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we are presenting with a science-based approach and looking at the root cause of illness and really helping people thrive and improve. Even if they feel great, we want them to feel greater. So, it's kind of, that's the philosophy that we're taking and helping everyone one step at a time.
Yeah, and it's funny, even if they feel great, we want people to feel greater. It's interesting that I never knew that I could feel better until I started eating raw vegan. I was challenged at the time, it was the show, to go raw vegan for 1 month. And I thought, at the time, like, who would ever do that? But I was challenged. I agreed to do it for 1 month. But what surprised me is that 4 days later, I felt really, really good. I wasn't feeling bad before. I just didn't know I could feel better. And for those of us who feel good, could there be a better? I know that there's people that are unrealistic with this better mode, that they keep trying to find this perfection that doesn't exist. But when we're looking for excellence and we are really listening to our body, we know what better is.
Yes.
And we want to keep it and we want to maintain it. And that's what you guys are doing at Live Longer Medical. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. And it's in our backyard in Florida. Well worth the trip. If people came from all over the world at Geyer Institute, this is going to be Live Longer Medical is going to surpass that. And we're going to, it's going to be even better from, because people want to come to Florida.
Mm-hmm. It's a very beautiful place.
I've never been there. No cut on Indiana, but I am a Florida girl, and I am endorsing Florida. For those of you who want to learn more about Live Longer Medical, and you want to attend that August 15th, it's called the Beauty and Bubbly, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about what Live Longer Medical is trying to do. You can either go and I'm doing my RSVP right now. It's 321. You can call 321-327-2980. That's 321-327-2980. Or you can go to livelongermedical.com to learn more. Lisa, I am so grateful that we met on that odd day that, it's like I was invited at the last minute, went to this event, met you. So grateful for that moment.
I am too. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Love
for
the program
you're doing. Yes.
Thank you for having me.
We are going to have fun in the future, I'm not starting today and in the future, bringing these topics so that you two know that you are in choice. You can choose health over comfort. And that's so important. Get to know our body. To get to know our body, what it's telling us, not only hearing the symptom, but listening to what the body is trying to tell us. That's Live Longer Medical, and I'm excited that we are partnering together in this journey. And so for those of you, remember, lifestyle changes. Interesting. What will your life be if you could take your health back to live longer? Okay, here we go. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Lisa Geyer wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best
The opinions and advice
ever.
expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, thank you so much. And for those of you who have been watching on Facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, I am so grateful to you. If you have any questions for Lisa, you're always able to ask during the classroom session, lesson, whatever you want to call it. You could also, again, I want to give that number for those of you who would like to learn more. Maybe you're in the Florida area, want to come to Florida to learn more about Live Longer Medical. It's 321-327-2980. RSVP if you want to be a part of it. I'll be there. I'm excited about that. And they are at 102 5th Avenue, Indy Atlantic, Florida. And that's 32903. That's livelongermedical.com. So those are different places, ways that you can connect with Lisa. And Brianna is the girl that will answer, the young lady that will answer the phone, and she is phenomenal. And interestingly enough, we were so destined to meet that I met Brianna before I met Lisa. And when I went to Live Longer Medical, I said, gosh, you look so familiar. And it's like, when you know that the universe is conspiring for you and brings you to this location, I'm just so excited to be a part of it. Is there anything, Lisa, that perhaps you wanted to say that you didn't get to say during the classroom that we get to talk about here now privately with the chat?
One thing we didn't talk about, and it just didn't come up, is peptide therapies.
Yeah.
That's something we're offering as well. Our body has over 7,000 naturally occurring peptides. So over the last couple of years, it's become in the forefront of, more cutting edge medicine to use peptide therapies. And, literally, they're discovering more and more every day, but there are some that are so effective and very life-changing for people. So, something like, to give an example, insulin.
What is a peptide? Let's go back to peptides. What is a peptide? Let's start from the very beginning.
It's kind of, all the peptides are different. They're, for instance, insulin is a peptide.
Oh,
To
okay.
give an example, that's a peptide. So that changes, our affects blood sugars, right? So there are different peptides that have different modalities, and there are peptides for inflammation. There are peptides for erectile dysfunction. There are peptides for mood. There are peptides for sleep. There's just a myriad of things, and I'm learning them right now. This is probably a year new for me, 2 years new, but we've just started using them in our medical practice, and we're seeing some great results. People just love them. And
How do you administer peptides?
different ways. There's one called BPC 157. It's an anti-inflammatory, and you can get that orally in a pill form, and as well, you can get it in an injection, and it's a sub-Q injection. In other words, it's just a very tiny needle, and it's just right under, that's right in the skin. It's not like an IM injection, which is intramuscular. So it's a very, you don't notice them. They're really small injections. They don't hurt that much. I know people say a shot. I don't want to do a shot. But most of them are injections. But many of them now, they're developing oral options. The difficulty with injections versus oral, when you take something orally, your digestive processing can take up about 30% or more, depending on whether you have digestive issues. So you lose some of the benefit. So sometimes an injection is a little bit better. It's immediate. And that is one thing I also didn't mention about IV therapies. The benefit to IV therapies is it's immediately available to your cells. So the uptake is very good, and your body's ability to use it is very good.
So is it 100% absorbable? Because you're talking about a 30% lack of absorption or lack of absorption. But when you're doing IV, are you getting 100% of this?
Yeah, you are, and it's immediate.
So that's why we don't need as much when we do an IV as opposed to when we do, like, let's say vitamin C, where I take vitamin C orally. I would 30% of that is lost in me, or maybe more.
Could be. It's different in everyone depending on how you process and what your digestion's like, and your diet and your lifestyle. It's different for everyone. That's why when you do this NutriEval test, it gives a little bit of a picture, and understanding that that's a picture in that moment, but it can change. I try to do the NutriEval test for myself personally twice a year. That's what I prefer to do. Keeps me informed how I'm processing and what I need.
Are you ever shocked when you see the results?
I was shocked initially with mine. I'm very health conscious, and what we eat and how we exercise every day and our lifestyle is pretty important. So I don't see dramatic shifts. But every now and then I'll realize, gee, I'm not getting enough essential fat, and so I'll increase that, or I'll change my magnesium level. Again, the folic acid came up, so I added that to my diet. So it's it can change, and it's good to keep up on that, even if it's just once a year. It's good idea.
Now, you had mentioned something about folic versus folate. So when you do your IVs, is it folate or is it folic?
It's folic acid, but the way that breaks down, that's what's critical. So I get it in the folic acid form. When you have the issue with MTHF, you need the activated folate, and that's just because of the way it processes. So that I take that orally every day. I don't miss that, because there are so many disease processes that could express later in my life. Things like Parkinson's and even depression and things like that. So I take my folate every day.
Very good. Very good. I would love to learn more about peptides therapy, because that is something that I don't think we've ever discussed in the classroom. So we
could do a whole show on that. And, there's just a brilliant physician. It'd be cool if we could get him on the show. His name's Dr. William Seeds. He has started what's called the International Peptide Society. I belong to that. And that's where I've done all of my training, is through his coursework. And I just finished my certification in peptide therapies. But he's brilliant and just very knowledgeable when it comes to all of that.
Very good. Very good. Well, I know that we will have a lot of growth learning with you and all the different modalities that you are doing at Live Longer Medical. And I'm excited to take this journey with you and benefit from it too, because
Yeah.
now you've got me curious on peptides and this BPC 157. Did I write that down quick enough?
Yeah, you did. I'll send you some information on it.
Okay. But what I love about this is that we are targeting the root cause. You
Yeah.
know, we can numb ourselves to the truth or we can embrace it and say,
Yeah.
okay, I can drag it with me and ignore it and get worse and worse and worse as we go down. Or we can say, I am here. I'm taking a stand. I'm looking at it square in the eyes. And
Yeah.
now I'm going to address it and help it get better. I love that. That is the way that medicine should be practiced.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
That is the only way that, when they talk about all these, the Obamacare and Affordable Care Act and all that stuff, to me, it's all about focusing on how to prevent as opposed to, being behind the 8 ball. So I want to thank you for everything that you do on that behalf. And for those of you who will watch this later on or maybe saw it today, please share it, like it, and help us grow this classroom so that we too have the power of information. So thank you for watching today. I'm going to say goodbye to those of you because I cannot see the questions. If there are any, I apologize. The way I got things going here, I can't see it anymore. But thank you so much for watching today. So I'm going to say goodbye. Say goodbye, Lisa, to all the people in Facebook. So we're going to stop the stream. So we'll see you tomorrow. So stay tuned. And for those of you on YouTube, I ask the same, that you share, like it, help us grow this. Not too many people have access to this information, and this is powerful information. So we'll see you soon. Take care.